used to think the price of something was the number on the tag. You pay it, you own the thing, done. It took me years to notice that the tag is just the deposit. Everything you own keeps charging you, quietly, for as long as you keep it. And the day I understood that, I got rid of about half my stuff and felt lighter than I had in years. So here's the idea I want to walk you through, because it genuinely changed how I live. When you buy something, you think the transaction is over. Money out, object in, finished. But it isn't finished. That object now lives with you, and it starts asking for things. It wants space. It wants upkeep. It wants to be moved when you move, and found when you need it. And a small part of your brain now permanently knows it exists. None of that matters for one object. That's why nobody ever notices. But you don't own one object, you own hundreds. And every one of them is quietly taking a small piece of you, every day, for as long as you keep it. That's the real price. The tag was just the deposit. I want to tell you when this hit me, because it wasn't some big philosophical moment. It was completely ordinary. Kept finding things I had no memory of owning. Not sentimental things, just objects. Things I'd bought at some point, used maybe twice, and then filed away into a drawer or a box where they'd been sitting ever since, doing nothing, waiting. And I remember standing there holding one of them and having this genuinely odd feeling. This thing has been in my house for years. It's been taking up space in my home the entire time, and I forgot it existed. So what exactly was it doing for me? Nothing. It was doing nothing, and it wasn't alone. There was a whole quiet population of these things living with me, and I was the one making room for them. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and I started noticing where it was costing me. Mornings, mostly. Ever stood in front of a full wardrobe and genuinely couldn't decide what to wear? That's not indecision, that's just too many options. Every choice takes a small amount of energy, and having more things to choose from doesn't make the choice better, it just makes it slower and more tiring. I had more clothes than I needed and got dressed slower because of it. Then there's the searching. Think about how much time you've lost hunting for something in your own home. That time is a direct tax on how much you own. The more you have, the longer everything takes to find, because everything is buried behind other things. And then there's the low background hum. That vague feeling of, I should really sort that cupboard out. I should deal with that pile. It never gets loud enough to actually do anything about, but it never fully goes away either. It just sits there, using a little bit of you. I genuinely believed I was tired because of work. Some of it was just that my space was asking me for things all day. I didn't do anything dramatic. I want to be clear about that, because the internet version of this always looks like someone throwing everything away and living in an empty white room, and that's not what happened, and honestly, that's not the point. I just started with one drawer, then a shelf. And the rule I used was simple. Not does this spark joy? I could never take that seriously. Just, have I used this in the last year? And if I lost it tomorrow, would I actually replace it? If the answer was no twice, it went. And the first few were hard. There's this weird guilt when you get rid of something you paid for, like you're throwing away the money again. But I worked out that the money was already gone. It went the day I bought it. Keeping the thing doesn't get it back. All keeping it does is charge me rent for the mistake, forever. Once I got past that, it got easy, almost fun. And the feeling afterwards was not what I expected. I thought I'd feel a bit of loss. I felt relief. Actual physical relief, like putting down a bag I'd been carrying so long I'd stopped noticing it. Keeping it simple isn't about having as little as possible. That's just a different competition, and some people turn owning nothing into its own stressful hobby. That's not it. It's about how much is pulling at you. Every object you own has a tiny string attached to it, running back to your attention. One string, you'd never feel it. 200 strings, and you feel vaguely tugged in every direction all the time and can't say why. Getting rid of things isn't really about the things. It's about cutting strings. It's about getting your own attention back so you can point it at something you actually care about. That's the whole reason it makes you happier. Not because empty rooms are beautiful, because a life with fewer things pulling at it has more room in it for you. The day-to-day got easier, and I expected that. What I didn't expect was feeling free, because when you own a lot, you're anchored. Moving is a nightmare. Changing anything is a nightmare. Every big decision arrives with this quiet question attached. But what about all my stuff? When you own less, you can move. You can change your mind. You can say yes to something without doing an inventory first. That flexibility turned out to be worth more than almost everything I got rid of. I'm not telling you to go throw out things you love. Please don't do that. Own the things you actually use and the things you genuinely love. Some objects earn their place completely. The guitar you play, the tools you use, the one thing that reminds you of someone. Those aren't clutter. Those are just your life, and I'd never tell you to strip it bare. This isn't about deprivation. It's the opposite. It's about making sure the things you own are actually serving you, instead of you quietly serving them. If it earns its space, keep it forever. If it's just squatting in your home, taking a small piece of you every day, let it go. But there's something else I noticed while I was doing all this, and it's the bit that stuck with me most. A lot of what I was holding on to wasn't really objects. It was people I thought I was going to be. There was stuff in there for a hobby I picked up for about 3 weeks. Things I bought for a version of my life that never actually happened. Equipment for a plan I abandoned. And every single one of them, sitting in a drawer, quietly representing someone I'd meant to become and hadn't. And that's why it's hard to throw things out. It was never about the money. Not really. It's that letting go of the object feels like admitting the version of you that would have used it isn't coming. That's a genuinely sad little thing to face on a Tuesday afternoon while you're cleaning a cupboard. But I'll tell you what I decided about that, for what it's worth. Keeping the thing doesn't keep the possibility alive. It just keeps the guilt alive. Every time you open that drawer, some small part of you goes, "Oh yeah, I never did that." And you get a tiny hit of disappointment in yourself, in your own house, for free, over and over. Letting it go isn't giving up on who you could be. It's just being honest about who you actually are right now, which is not a defeat. It's the most relaxing thing in the world, actually. You stop living with all these little reminders of unfinished versions of yourself, and you get to just be the person you currently are, in a room that isn't quietly judging you. That's the part nobody tells you about getting rid of things. It's not really tidying. It's forgiving yourself for a bunch of small things you didn't do. I spent a long time thinking the price of things was the number I paid. It wasn't. Everything I owned kept charging me, quietly, every day, and I never once added it up. Owning less didn't make me happier because empty rooms looked good. It made me happier because there was less pulling at me, and a lot fewer small reminders of things I never got around to being. I'm not telling you to go throw everything away. I'd just say, next time you're in your own place, actually look around for a second. Not to judge it. Just notice how much of it is genuinely serving you, and how much of it you've quietly been serving. You might find, like I did, that you've been carrying something for years without ever putting it down. Keep it simple. I'll catch you in the next one.